Right, I'm here with Matt Hindle, who's the head of gas at the Energy Networks Association. We're here at Utility Week Live. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Pleasure.
I wanted to start off. Obviously, this year we've had the Gas Innovation Showcase, which obviously the ENA have been heavily involved with. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about what's been involved with that and how it's brought the gas networks together.
Sure. Well, the Gas Innovation Showcase, as you say, first time at Utility Week in 2019. For us, it's all about making sure that we've got an opportunity to talk about all of the innovation work that the gas networks are undertaking, both in terms of the future energy system, but also how we run our networks more efficiently, how we deliver for consumers. So it's a real opportunity for us to talk to the wider industry about the kind of huge range of innovation projects that we're delivering, and also to get ideas in. So one thing we're really keen to do through being here is make sure that we generate new ideas for innovation projects, and we understand what the industry at wide wants to see the gas networks doing and what ideas they can provide for us going forward.
And obviously we're on day 2 of the event at the moment. Would you say that you've had some good ideas received so far?
Yeah, I think there's been some great conversations. I think the level of interest has been extremely high. We had packed sessions on the future of gas in the Innovation Theatre yesterday and in the Networks Theatre today. I think you see a lot of the opportunities at Utility Week for cross-vector innovation and for ideas from other sectors when we have conversations with people who are working in the water sector, for example. I've had conversations with water companies, I've had conversations with the supply chain. We start to see that kind of whole system thinking across innovation and how there are kind of parallels between not just electricity and gas, but also the wider utility sector.
Obviously there's been a number of announcements recently around climate change, with the Committee on Climate Change announcing their net zero ambitions by 2050. What role do you think that gas networks can play in decarbonisation?
Well, I think what the CCC net zero advice shows, and particularly obviously if the government do adopt a net zero target, is that the work that we're doing on innovation to decarbonise gas is more important than ever. I mean, I think one of the most notable things in the CCC report was the section on hydrogen that said moving from an 80% target to net zero turns hydrogen from an option to a necessity, and that shows you how important it is that we continue to develop the options for delivering hydrogen grids, repurposing our existing infrastructure, making sure that we've got everything in place to deliver hydrogen safely to consumers and decarbonise those difficult areas like heat and transport. As we develop our sort of vision for decarbonising and for hydrogen in the networks alongside the other decarbonised gases and technologies that we want to use, what's going to be really important is that we build on the innovation projects the networks have developed and move to models that can actually deliver those big-scale projects, deliver the investment that's required to bring hydrogen to consumers. We've got to kind of build on the innovation we've done, but we've got to move beyond innovation and into real trials, real deployment.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a lot of talk that those trials do need to be adopted on a larger scale, particularly with hydrogen. Would you go along with that?
Absolutely. It's the obvious next step. The innovation projects have delivered a lot in terms of the evidence, the case. There's still more innovation to do in terms of the technologies, the ways of running networks in the future, smarter gas networks, for example. But fundamentally, to get to the next step, we need to see deployment. We need that to be industrial deployment, so hydrogen for steel making or other big industrial processes, and we need to see blending in the grid, building on the work that will take place in high deploy, injecting into the Keele University grid this year. We need to see that moving forward with some of the sort of underpinning actions around gas quality, around smarter operation, and fundamentally getting more green gas into our grids.
I wonder if you could tell us a bit more about the work that the Energy Networks Association is doing right now, particularly with your Pathfinders projects.
Yeah, sure. So what we're trying to do as ENA is bring together the gas networks and make sure that we've got a really coherent view of the future. So our Pathways project will be publishing some research this year that looks at how we can decarbonise gas in a way that's compliant with net zero. So that's the combination of hydrogen, biogases, synthetic gases, smart hybrid heating technologies. What does that mix look like? Can we get into a bit more detail about what's going to work where, how we're going to deliver that? But most importantly, how we can start to develop the right projects to bring that in place. Because I think we've been good in the past at saying, look at what 2050 can be, look how hydrogen networks can deliver, look what we can do with biogas. But what we need to do is break that down into real deliverable projects and show the wider world that this is a vital part of the future, but it's also something we can start to deliver today.
And what types of technologies do you think could be used to help advance the decarbonisation of gas?
So I think it will be a mix. I think we're going to need all hands to the pump when it comes to decarbonising gas. We've got 100 biomethane sites connected to the distribution networks already. That's something we want to continue to grow because it's an obvious way to get gas onto the system now that's lower carbon, no changes for consumers. We need to continue that. We need to grow hydrogen, and particularly in the sort of geographical opportunities where there are links to carbon capture and storage, where there are links to heavy industry, but also for the distribution grids and for homes. We need smart heating systems, which can help us to deliver decarbonising gas and help to reduce volumes and make incremental change to support consumers in decarbonising their heating. But I think some of the shorter term actions are about how we make sure the grid is set up for this future. So we're continuing to deliver the Iron Main risk reduction programme, and that is putting PE piping into our distribution networks that's suitable at carrying this wider range of gases. We need to develop projects like future billing methodology, Optinet, in order to run smarter gas networks, again, that are more suitable at carrying this range, and make sure that consumers have the right billing, that networks have the right systems in place to run a much more distributed, much more decarbonised gas network. We can do all of that in the short term, and that helps to bridge us to this future of a mixed, decarbonised, net zero compliant grid.
And what are your thoughts on the government's recently announced Future Homes Standard, and in particular their plans to ban gas heating systems in new homes from 2025? What kind of impacts is that obviously going to have on the gas networks, for example?
That's something we very much want to work with government on, and we want to see what the best way forward for consumers will be through it. As we're starting to develop these options and technologies for decarbonised gas, what we don't want to see is consumers cut off from those options. So where you've got geographies that might support biogases, might support hydrogen, we don't want to see new homes cut off from those options of decarbonisation if it's what's going to work best for those homes and those consumers. So we want to see a sort of sensible approach that emphasises energy efficiency, that emphasises getting a right solution in place, and helps to support the vision we have for decarbonising gas, decarbonising the networks in general.
And one thing that we're doing in Network magazine is we're shining a light on the network of the future.
Yeah.
So I wondered if I could get your thoughts finally on what you think the gas network of the future might look like.
So I think the gas network of the future is almost all PE piping, and therefore capable of carrying the sort of range of gases, anything from 100% biomethane to 100% hydrogen through bio-SNG and natural gas. So it's flexible. I think it's a lot more decentralised because we'll see biogas continuing to connect in more distributed parts of the network. We may well see hydrogen power to gas connecting in those parts of the network too. So we need to think about how we move gas around the UK in a different way from today. That means some physical changes, it means some operational changes, all to deliver that kind of flexibility that supports both renewable gas producers and customers to get what they need. And I think we'll also see a lot more cross-vector collaboration. We're already seeing the increase in flexible generation powered by the gas network. We think that will continue. We think that interaction between your local gas distribution network and your local electricity distribution network will only continue going forward.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.